So E3 is finally over, and it was pretty shit. Like I said in my last video, the only two notable press conferences I saw were the ones from Microsoft and Nintendo. Everything else was below C tier trash, so I'm gonna go through all the games shown in order of the presentation, so enough bitching, let's just start the fucking video. So there were two presentations that I thought were big enough to consider press conferences, but they didn't start during the E3 time period, but they were close enough to E3 for me to call them E3 shows. The first one was Dying Light 2, which looks pretty good. I started playing the first one a couple weeks ago, and Dying Light 2 looks like that base game, but better in pretty much every way. I also got kind of a cyberpunk vibe from the new trailers, but not in like the bad way, like it's buggy, like in the way that it made everyone hyped for it. It's kind of hard to explain, but it could be pretty good, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. Then Sony came out and finally showed some gameplay for Horizon Forbidden West. Almost a year after it was announced. That's not good. As I expected, it looks just like the first game, but prettier. I won't lie, the graphics for this game look top fucking notch, just like the first one did, but it doesn't look good enough to warrant me touching the brick that is my PS4. I can just watch the cutscenes online, or if I care that much, I'll wait for the inevitable PC port. I'm fine either way. The game seems like it's gonna be pretty decent. Hopefully they give Aloy somewhat of a character this time, but yeah, looks fine. Might check it out if it ever comes to PC. And then E3 really kicked off with the Summer Games Fest. So literally the only notable thing that came out of the entire fucking 3-hour Summer Games Fest show was the Elden Ring trailer, which I could not have given less of a fuck about. Now, I know a lot of people love Souls-like games. I tried Dark Souls 3 once at a friend's house and instantly realized that getting fucked in the ass with a chainsaw wasn't for me, so I was never incentivized to buy it. But hey, if you're into that shit, go off. I might check it out one day, but it's for sure not a day one for me. There were two other announcements that came out of the show that have people creaming their pants over for some weird fucking reason, which is the Death Stranding Director's Cut and Jurassic World Evolution 2, neither of which I care about. For Death Stranding Director's Cut, oh boy, I can't wait to pay $60 to $70 for the same shitty walking simulator for maybe 2 hours of added content. Can't fucking wait. But Josh, the Walking Dead guide now has a box now. Oh boy, now I'm even more excited. Then for Jurassic World Evolution 2, which I saw gameplay of the first one, instantly saw that it looked like a mobile game and fucked right off. And the second looks the exact same. That's literally all I have to say at this point. And that's the end of the Summer Games Fest. The rest were just indie games that might be good, but I'm willing to bet they aren't. So I think it's safe to say that this show is just complete shit. Better luck next year, I guess. The next day, they had the Ubisoft Showcase, which was somehow even worse than the Summer Games Fest. I tried streaming this shit, but I genuinely got so bored that I decided to stop watching halfway through and decided to look at furries complaining about being criticized, and I can't say it wasn't more entertaining than the Ubisoft Showcase. The first thing they showed at the Ubisoft Showcase was some Rainbow Six zombie game, which looks like complete shit. It looks so bad I can't even fucking remember the name of the game to pull up a trailer for it in the background. I'm not too big of a fan of Siege, but at least Siege looks a little fun. This just looks generic as fuck. It's like they're not even trying. Then they showed the most exciting thing in the entire show, which was some guitar thing. I'm more interested in this guitar thing than any of the other games they showed. I'm not even fucking kidding. They ended the show with Far Cry 6, which again, like Elden Ring, I don't give a fuck about, but it's there for people who like it. But I want to point out, they showed a trailer for the game at their presentation, which it was alright. The graphics looked ripped straight out of 2013, but I don't really care. But then, the next day at the Xbox Showcase, they showed another trailer where the game looked way fucking better at an actual gameplay. And it's like, what the fuck? Why didn't you just show that at your own press conference? But yeah, Ubisoft was just complete shit. The next show they had was Microsoft, which was honestly decent. They started the show off strong with some of Starfield, and it got my hopes up that we were going to see some gameplay. However, I was extremely disappointed, and all they showed was a 30-second cinematic with a release date, and a huge fuck you to the Sony fanboys that Starfield wouldn't be coming to PS5. To be fair, it was pretty funny. They showed more of Back 4 Blood, which, I don't really care. It looks like another zombie game. Cool. It's coming day one to Game Pass, which is nice. That's literally it. About a week before the Microsoft Showcase, DICE EA came out with the cinematic trailer for the new Battlefield 2042. And it looks cool. They showed gameplay at the Microsoft Showcase and it looks really good. I've never played a Battlefield game before, but I'm honestly interested in this one and I might check it out if it goes on sale sometime. They also showed off Halo Infinite and its multiplayer. It looks good. I'm not too much of a fan of Halo, but I'm glad Microsoft is making the multiplayer free to play to revive the franchise. The graphics also look massively improved over last year, which we already knew from the Inside Infinite back in March, but yeah. I might get Infinite at launch, I'm not sure. Again, I'm not too much of a Halo fan. They showed off more of the Doom Eternal RTX patch, which looks cool. I'm still playing Eternal even a year after it's come out, so this is really cool and another thing to put my graphics card through even more abuse. And it's also coming to console, which is cool, and it would be really funny if it turned out the PS5 isn't getting an RTX patch. That would just make for some very entertaining content. They showed off a bunch of indies, but there is this one that really just stood out to me for some reason, which was Replace. This retro futuristic style platformer that has a really cool art style that reminds me a lot of Octopath Traveler with futuristic 80s synthwave elements thrown in, which I don't know, this game just looks really interesting. Haven't seen too much of it yet, but this could actually be pretty good. The thing they ended their show with was kind of disappointing, which was the announcement of a new vampire shooter called Redfall, developed by Bethesda, that's supposed to come out next year. Like Starfield, I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Apparently it's an open world co-op FPS, which seems interesting, but again, no gameplay. If you have no gameplay to show, don't show your fucking game for God's sake, it's not that hard. Then they crammed a bunch of indie shit that I didn't care about, again excluding the one Replaced game. Hades is apparently coming to Xbox and Game Pass, which is cool now because I'll finally get to finish that game. But yeah, decent show, nothing groundbreaking. Capcom also had a show, which was literally just a 20-minute presentation to announce that they're making DLC for Resident Evil Village. Now, I really did like Village, but why'd you make everyone sit through 20 minutes of this shit? All for just text on screen announcing that there's DLC coming for Village. Literally just make a tweet or something, for fuck's sake. There were a bunch of other shows that showed off literally nothing and quite literally wasted your time. I can't even remember all of them from how fucking boring they were, and I don't really care either. There was also the shitty Square Enix presentation that I almost forgot to add into the script, but they showed off a Guardians of the Galaxy game. Great. Can't wait for them to fuck up my favorite Marvel property. Fucking awesome. And then the last show was Nintendo's, and it's probably my favorite of E3. They kicked off the direct with the announcement of a new Smash DLC fighter. It started off with this muscular dude throwing Smash fighters off a cliff into lava, and I instantly thought Doom Guy because of the rumors prior to the direct. However, I was heavily disappointed, and it turned out it was some dude from Tekken, Kazuya, however the fuck you pronounce that. Now, usually with the Smash fighter, I'm at the very least interested in their kit, but for some reason this time, I don't care. His kit doesn't look that interesting. He turns into a vampire thing, which is cool, I guess. But again, he doesn't look that interesting. But hey, maybe he'll be like Terry. Terry looked boring as fuck when he first got announced, but he turned out to be one of my favorite characters in the game. I don't have high hopes, but maybe that's what'll make me like this character even more. There's a Mario Party Top 100 style game coming to Switch called Mario Party Superstars. At first I thought it was DLC for Super Mario Party, but I guess not. Okay, it's there for people who want it, I guess. There's also a new WarioWare coming to Switch, which looks cool. I've never played a WarioWare game before, but it seems like something. That's literally all I have to say. Then they showed off Shin Megami Tensei 5, which looks really fucking good. If you guys don't know this, I've never played an SMT game before. The most exposure I've had to the franchise was Persona 5, but I really fucking like Persona 5, and SMT 5 looks like Persona 5 with a post-apocalyptic skin on it, which seems really fucking cool. I might actually pick this one up day one, I'm not sure, but still, it looks really good. Then there was probably the biggest surprise of the direct for me, which was the announcement of a new 2D Metroid Dread. I'm genuinely excited for this. It looks so mysterious. The only issue is that it kind of looks like a DS game, but other than that, it looks really fucking cool. They also said Metroid Prime 4 was still in development, which they're probably saving for E3 next year, but I really like the redesign of Samus, and everything about this game looks just so interesting, and I also think I might buy this game day one. They finished off the show with the Zelda 35th anniversary stuff, with the Zelda Game & Watch and showing off more of Skyward Sword, and then they said that was all they had for Zelda's 35th anniversary. No ports of Wind Waker or Twilight HD, no remasters of Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, just a $60 port of one Wii game. What the actual fuck? If you guys don't know this, I fucking love the Zelda franchise. Breath of the Wild was the first real game I had ever played, and it just gets fucked over so hard like this. Can't even port 5 games, some of which are over 2 decades old. Fuck off. But hey, At least they had something else up their sleeve. Then Eiji Aonuma said he was going to show the new trailer for Breath of the Wild 2. Now again, if you don't know this, Breath of the Wild is my favorite game of all time, so I care a lot about how the sequel ends up being. Showing what happened right after the cinematic we saw in 2019, and it cuts to gameplay. Link has a new costume, something's up with his arm, his hair's different, it's in the sky. Holy shit, the map's in the sky now? There's these new temple things, there's this ancient turtle looking thing. The enemies' bases are built on top of bosses. Fucking genius. There's new runes, there's a fire shield, there's turning into raindrops and teleporting. It's using the same map as Breath of the Wild. 4 years for the same fucking map. What the fuck? Now, there's a chance that the game could still be good while having the same map. I'm not denying that, but for fuck's sake, even fucking Horizon Forbidden West has a new map now. The game's already an asset flip of Breath of the Wild, and you couldn't at the very least show a new map? And again, I could be totally fucking wrong. The game could have slight elements from the same map as Breath of the Wild, or it could have two completely different maps a la Link to the Past, one in the sky and one on the ground, well, which once again will be totally fine. But if it's just a base map with a few new islands in the sky, and we waited probably gonna be 5 years for this shit, Nintendo can just go fuck right off. Now, if we had waited 1.5, maybe 2 years, reusing the same map with a couple new islands would have been fine. But 5 years? Fucking Christ. But it hasn't been confirmed yet, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed. The gameplay looks like Breath of the Wild's with new runes and new weapons, which is exactly what I wanted. And the game can still be good. Look at Majora's Mask. That came out in a little under 2 years after Ocarina of Time, and that game is honestly better than Ocarina. Anyways, that was E3. It was okay, a little below average I'd say, but better than last year's. There were a few good announcements, like, again, Metroid, but that was about it. As always, thank you all for watching. Sorry I haven't been uploading it as much as I should have been this week. I've been doing yard work for my neighbors, but yeah, thank you for watching. Do whatever the fuck you want now, and I'm out.